Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey. The first week of the preseason is in the books for the Dallas Cowboys, so let's hand out some grades. First up, the offense. Is a C- too high? I'm definitely waiting that the first drive looked way better. And that's my biggest takeaway. Like, oh, yeah, of course, the third-string unit looked bad because Mike White was terrible. More on him later on, but I don't have high expectations. The first team moved the ball down the field really, really easily and then settled for a field goal, which is a concern, but it's also week one of the preseason, so I'm not going to freak out about having one drive of the starters and having them look pretty good. I thought Cooper Rush was pretty solid, especially early, and then it was just kind of like a decline from there on out. So maybe I'm too high for the Cowboys offense, but I'm not freaking out about it, which I think some of you guys are out there. All right, the defense, they are next up here. I was pretty pleased with them. B+. Now, I'll make note right now, the Cowboys actually played their starters, and the 49ers did not, so maybe I should be a little more critical, but I was fine with it, 17 points allowed. They shut them down early. They had nothing going until late in the second quarter. Like, the Cowboys defense I thought was really, really good, and by the way, they forced some turnovers. Nick Mullins was picked off once. Richie James was almost picked off twice. I needed to see more takeaways by the Cowboys defense. Or what? I don't know. That didn't make any sense what I just said there. Nick Mullins was picked off once. Beathard was picked off. And Richie James almost fumbled. That's what I meant to say. Instead, I said some type of weird gibberish. So my bad there. But I wanted to see more takeaways from the Cowboys defense. We got 2 of them tonight. That's a big deal, at least for me. All right, special teams. That's next up here. And not great. I'm going to give it a C. I actually thought Case Redford did a pretty good job on the punting side of things, and that helps up the grade. But, oh no, Brett Maher, just being who he is, 3 of 4 from field goal range, missing a one that he should have made. Maher, not good enough tonight, plain and simple. Chris Jones had 1 punt for 38 yards. It was pretty bad, and then Redford took over for him. I made this point a while ago before Redford got reps with the kicker and Brett Maher. Redford coming for Chris Jones' job. Just be aware that we saw Dan Bailey get Dan Bailey'd last year. Here's my biggest concern. Maher ain't it, guys. He started the year really hot and then was a 75% guy. He was a 75% guy tonight. He's been an 83% guy in camp. That doesn't get the job done in the NFL. You have to up those numbers. I think the answer is yes. It's time to find a new kicker. Go call Matt Bryant. Or at minimum, bring some competition in. The Cowboys cannot enter week one unless Maher doesn't miss the rest of the way or is a 90% guy the rest of the way. 75 to 85 does not get it done in the NFL. That's why Dan Bailey got cut. Why would you give more time and more opportunities to Brett Maher? Because he's cheap? You can find cheap anywhere at this point in the kicker market. All right, next up is Kellen Moore, and I'm going to go full-on cop-out answer here. It's incomplete. Maybe you guys want a grade because these are grades. It's my show, though. For Kellen Moore, what did we expect? I tried to warn some of you guys last night, and even coming into this, you're not going to see a totally drastic change in the Cowboys offense in week one of the preseason. You're going to see new stuff in games, in actual games that matter. You saw a little bit more motion, and you saw some more play action. The Cowboys' plan was never to debut a brand new offense and show all of their tricks. You benefit by having a first-time play caller and not having tendencies. Why show them in the preseason? So it's an incomplete grade for Kellen Moore. Yes, the offense was bad, but that game should not have impacted you in any way in what your viewpoint of Kellen Moore was. If you were optimistic, stay optimistic. If you were pessimistic, stay pessimistic. If you didn't care, don't care. It shouldn't have changed after week one of the preseason in which Cooper Rush and Mike White played 90% of the snaps. Come on, guys. Now, if you want more Cowboys grades and highlights, news and rumors, and heck, live winners and losers coming up tomorrow on Sunday, make sure you are subscribed. Hit us up with that subscription. Let's get to 50K. That's our big new number there. Let's up those numbers. We're past 30K. I told you guys it was going to come before the preseason ended, and it did. So make sure you are subscribed to us here on the Cowboys Report. Let's move then to Tony Pollard, who, based on my mentions, and certain Cowboys media members was already one of the greatest fourth-round picks in Cowboys history and is just as good as Zeke. It didn't make any sense, but let's not freak out the other way either. Tony Pollard gets a B- from me. His numbers weren't that great, that's okay. It's not just how he played, it's also when he played. Namely, after the first series, Tony Pollard was done. That is very clear and a very clear expectation and sign that the Dallas Cowboys are very happy with how Tony Pollard has played. To not put him out there after that first drive, that's an indication that he is going to be a key part of this Cowboys offense. If he wasn't, they would have given him more reps. They didn't want to risk the injury for Tony Pollard. That's the biggest takeaway there, not the pretty solid but nothing spectacular 4 for 16 yards. It's just standard. He looked fine, but he didn't look spectacular or the hype train that was generating for him pretty quickly. Let's move then to Blake Jarwin. No Jason Witten in week 1, but Blake Jarwin, he was good, guys. I give him an A. I was very impressed by Blake Jarwin's play. And again, Blake, I'm sorry for saying you should have been benched because you didn't need to be benched. I was just wrong. Cowboys were right. 5 targets, 4 catches for 51 yards. The big one coming on the play-action pass that he busted free on. I was very impressed by Blake Jarwin's play. Clearly heads and shoulders above Dalton Schultz. Like, very clearly just a better player right now for the Dallas Cowboys at tight end. That's an A grade for me. When we do winners and losers tomorrow, he is definitely one of your winners. A very good showing by Blake Jarwin. Speaking of winners, I won this game because, I hate to say it, you bet against the Cowboys in the preseason, guys. They're just not a good preseason team. Go to chatsports.com/Cowboys. Use promo code GOCowboys for a 100% deposit bonus. And then, yes, bet on Dallas with the Giants in week 1. Ooh, Daniel Jones looks good against the Jets backups. Ooh, he's not going to play week 1 anyway because Eli Manning is still there and is also bad. Chatsports.com/Cowboys. Promo code GOCowboys for a 100% deposit bonus. Let's go back to a popular pet cat, JonVea Johnson. Oh no, this was not it from JonVea. He gets a D from me. He's still fighting for a roster spot, but let's be real here. Cedric Wilson looked better than JonVea Johnson. I know the final numbers aren't that bad. 3 catches for 30 yards, showed some flashes, drew a questionable at best defensive pass interference. Let's call it what it was. A bad call. That was not defensive pass interference. Johnson did get the work, though, with that second unit pretty early. The problem was, as I've told you guys for weeks now, there's a drop concern here. And guess what happened? JonVea Johnson dropped 2 passes. He is fighting for a roster spot with with Davis, with Guyton, with Wilson, with Devin Smith too, who should have caught a touchdown pass, but was missed by Mike White. You can't drop balls if you're JonVea Johnson. He gets a D for me. Did not help himself in the way he needed to in week 1 of the NFL preseason. Speaking of not helping yourself, Mike White ain't it, guys. We've seen 5 preseason games from him, and it's been bad. Every game's been bad. Now, I know the offensive line doesn't help him, but this was an F performance. The pocket awareness was terrible. The vision in the field was bad as well. 9 of 20 for 87 yards, was sacked 3 times, had a brutal fumble. The best success on offense for Mike White was pass interference and penalties. That's not going to work in the NFL. Mike White was once again a disappointment for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I will say, I want to see him work with the 2s next week. Let's see if he can be better with a slightly improved supporting cast, but the offensive line wasn't that different between between Cooper Rush and Mike White. Cooper Rush right now, clearly the better back quarterback. We didn't see much on offense, actually any of offense, I don't think. I'll go back and check tonight. Of Taron Christian. He wasn't out there. Maybe you play him too, because Mike White, it looks bad right now. He just doesn't seem to be it. The confidence, the awareness just isn't there right now for Mike White. That's a big, big red flag for the Dallas Cowboys. One last grade. Let's go positive here. Donovan Wilson, you get an A. I need turnovers. Guess what Donovan Wilson gave to me tonight? A turnover there. A great interception of C.J. Beathard. I will make note because I'm trying to just tell it like it is here. That was a trash throw. Beathard threw it directly into the gut of Donovan Wilson. It would have been bad if he didn't catch it. With that said, it's still an interception. And I need splash plays. And if you're Donovan Wilson and you are just fighting to make this roster, make some splash plays. That's the best way to do it, and that's what Donovan Wilson did in this one. Very pleased by that from Wilson. I need to see more, of course, from him to make this roster. Kavon Frazier, Iloka, Thompson still ahead of him right now on the actual depth chart in terms of overall safeties. But that was a very strong first start for Donovan Wilson. I like that one quite a bit. He gets an A for me in this one. Overall, very, very happy with Donovan Wilson. Then one last note here for you guys, because why not? This is fun. Free Jordan. He got some reps above Anthony Brown. I'm going to go back and double check. But I think they rotated the slot duties and outside cornerback, which I think makes sense. I say free Jordan Lewis. He was good tonight as well. We're doing winners and losers tomorrow. Do not be surprised if Jordan Lewis also checks in on that winner's side. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.